Hello everybody, hope everyone's doing good. Today we'll start with Module 4 titled Electrical Safety. And in today's sessions we'll discuss a few concepts related to the same. Okay, we all know that electricity is part of our life, whether at work or at home, and electricity has become an essential in modern life. And some engineers or electricians, technicians, these guys work directly with electricity, and others like us work with it indirectly. And electricity has become such a familiar part of our daily life that we don't give much thought how much work depends on a reliable source of electricity. And even more important, we try to overlook the hazards electricity poses and fail to treat it with the respect it deserves. Electricity has long been recognized as a serious workplace hazard, exposing employees to electric shock, electrician burns, fires, and explosions. With ever increasing use of electricity, as already mentioned, whether be it domestic or industrial, commercial purpose, the safety of personnel or the person working in and around it, the plant, the equipment is nowadays gaining more and more attention. Of course, electricity is very safe and easily controllable form of energy. Only if the installations, plant and equipment are built with adequate safety precautions and also the users should be aware and also follow the safety rules in every action. And also, as according to recent surveys, many people are electrocuted each year. May thousands more suffer. Electrocuted may cause a permanent damage or the severe of, and they may lose certain parts of their body like limbs, and thousand more suffer disabling injuries from accident and contact with electricity. It's said that electricity is number one cause of fire in workplace. So, with all this in mind, we'll just look what are the safety precautions that has to be followed when handling electricity. So, what actually is electricity? So, they say that there are many definitions for the electricity. Electricity is simply the flow of electrons from one place to another. And we know that electrons are tiny particles that orbit the core of an atom as shown, and when they can be made to jump or hop from one atom to the next. And of course, electrons move very easily through metal wire, but the flow of electrons is limited by the size of the wire. That means if we increase the wire size, it allows more electrons to flow through it and hence more electricity. Hence, electricity can be delivered safely to homes and businesses. And we know that electricity flows more easily through some materials than compared to others. Say for example, take metals. They offer very little resistance to flow of electric current. Hence, they are called as conductors. That's why the surface or subsurface of the earth acts as good conductor of electricity. But if you take some materials like glass, plastic, clay, dry wood, they generate slow or we can say stop the flow of electricity. Hence, they are called as insulators. Even air is an insulator. They can become a conductor during a lightning stroke. A more example, if you take pure water, it's a very poor conductor. But if small amount of impurities in water like salt, acid, or solvent, other materials are added to it, the change of it conductor can change water to conduct electricity. Similarly, there are many more examples. Okay. Of course, one thing we should remember that if electricity is not handled carefully, it becomes very dangerous. So the again coming to basic concept of electricity, we already discussed. Whenever we say electricity, it means the flow of electrons or current through conductors, and it requires a source of power, usually a generating station. It can be a battery or any other medium, and current always travels in a closed circuit. The problem is when we become a part of that circuit, it causes injuries to human beings. So we should try to avoid that. Avoid, try to avoid to become a part of that circuit. Next topic we'll see what are the hazards of electricity. Hazard means what are the injuries that are caused by electricity to humans. We will agree that persons who are working or exposed to electrical appliances or equipments or installation are exposed to these following hazards. Of course, we all know that electricity is invisible, hence the hazards we can say that are hidden are invisible, cannot be seen. It's what it says. So these are some of the hazards that has been listed. The first one is what is called as the electric shock, and we get the electric shock due to direct contact with live wire or conductor when standing on earth or while in contact with a metallic earthed part. Even we can get the electric shock due to direct contact with non-effectively if earthing is not done properly, and if the metal carry leakage current or fault current or it has induced current, that's also possible. That also results in electric shock. Next type of injury we have burns, and whenever a person gets burns because of electric accident, it can be very serious. And burns can be of three types. Either it can be electrical burn, arc burn, or thermal contact burn. So when we say electric burn is result of or because of electric current flowing in the tissues and maybe either skin deep or affect deeper layers, say such as muscles and bones. And tissue damage is whenever, because when we have electric burns, here the tissue will get damaged. Well, the reason being electricity generates heat, and because of that the tissue burns. And if the electric shock is high, the body cannot dissipate that heat and the tissue is burned. And such burns are very dangerous, and as it takes lot of time to heal. Next type of burn, arc burns. And arc burns are the result of high temperature produced by electric arcs or explosion close to the body. That means a person may not come directly in contact with electric arc burns if he is standing close near it. Because of the arc produced by it may cause burns to the human being. And finally, we have the thermal contact burns. Here, thermal contact burns, these are usually normal experience you can say from the skin, and the skin comes in contact with the all surfaces of overheated electric conductors or other equipments. And sometimes it may so often, of course, we have discussed three types of burns. Sometimes all the three types of burns can take place simultaneously. That's also possible. So this was regarding the burns. Next type of electric hazards is falling. Sometimes a person may fall from a particular height due to shock while working on overhead structures. He may come in contact across a live wire and he may fall from a certain height. So that hazard is also possible. Next type of electric hazard, explosions. Explosion may take place. Maybe sometimes if a person is working near a oil filled equipment, because of internal arcing or some circuit breakers, explosion of high pressure gas filled equipment can take place. That's also one type of electric hazard. Next, fires. And we know that fires sometimes are caused by electric loose connections or because of electric arcs or even because of short circuits. And whenever a fire starts, the chances are that it can quickly spread and cause death due to burn injuries, or it can even release poisonous gases. There are many causes for fires. Either it may be loose connection in the power circuit, or loose connection in the terminals, or it may be electric fault in the equipment itself, or there may be some static electric charges or discharge through sparks. There are many reasons for the causes of fires. Next, electric hazard, release of poisonous or liquid gases, liquid or poisonous liquid or gases. Sometimes release of gases or liquid may take place because of some the circuit may break during maintenance, and this will result in release of fluids or gases from cans. Next, natural disasters. So even we consider lightning strokes as an electric hazard. It's a natural disaster, or because of earthquakes or landslides, it can result in electric hazards. Then we have man-made disaster. So when we say man-made, earlier before this we had natural disasters, and examples were lightning or earthquakes or mudslides. And here man-made disaster means it is made by the humans intentionally. Intentionally for purpose of harming someone, this disasters takes place like bombing or sabotage in an industry. So he will make sure that the connections, the electric connections, electricity, whenever someone handles a machine, he will purposely try to try to damage it. That is what we call sabotage or intentional disaster. That is man-made disaster. Next, we have short circuits, and sometimes we must observe short circuits are not caused by man-made or intentionally. They may be caused by birds or the rodents or rats eating through the wires, which results in short circuit. Next, we have the mechanical accidents. And when it's a mechanical accidents, this hazard may be due to failure of electrical controls or certain controls or interlocks, or some uh, machine safeguard may get damaged, or machine or structure components, or even vehicle accidents also we can call as electrical hazards like crane, car, lift. There are many electrical parts, and if they get damaged, it is electric hazards. So these are the various hazards that may be result of electricity. Next, let us see what is the effect of electric current on human body. And we say that electric shock occurs when the body becomes part of an electric circuit. As mentioned earlier slides, if we are part of a closed circuit, then electricity flows through us. That means electric shock usually occurs when the body becomes a part of an electrical circuit. And this can happen in three ways. A person may come in contact with both conductors in a circuit, or a person may provide a path between an ungrounded conductor and the ground. And lastly, a person may provide a path between the ground and a conducting material. So these are the various ways in which electric shock can occur. Now, the extent of injury. Extent of injury caused by electric shock may depend on these three factors. It doesn't mean that whenever you come in an electrical contact, it is just a serious injury. It depends. Let us see what are the various factors which various factors on which the injury of electric shock depends on. The first factor is mentioned is, of course, the amount of current conducted through the body, or you can say that the amount of current that is flowing through our body. And here in the table, we can see the range is mentioned. So suppose if the current that is flowing through the body is about 0.5 to 3 milliamps, so it will be, we have a tingling session. Tingling in the sense, it's extremely painful. It just tingles, the body tingles. So that is the effect we have, 0.5 to 3 milliamps. If it is anyway in the range of 3 to 10, so it is extremely painful. It just muscle contracts, and we have sometimes breathing problem. All this takes place whenever we have 3 to 10. If the range is anywhere between 10 to 40 milliamps, so we are for 10 to 43 milliamps, so it is so it is a which is what we call as a let go. uh, it's a let go threshold. It just catches, and it's very difficult to let go. So that is the effect. And if it is anywhere between 30 to 75, we just start getting respiratory problem, and even death is possible in such cases. And if it is anywhere between 100 to 200 milliamps, we have ventricular fibrillation. That means that unsystematic breathing, beating of heart pumping, all this takes place. Even nerve damage can take place. 200 to 500 milliamps, heart clamps tight. That means we may have a cardiac arrest or a heart attack. And if it is anything beyond 1500 and above, of course, is fatal. That tissue and organs start to burn, and of course it results in death. So these are the effect of the amount of current that flows through the body. The next factor is the path of current through the body, the amount of current flowing through the body. Of course, if the low current is there, the effect on the body ranges, as already mentioned, the milliamps depends upon the path of current flows through the body. Next, the length of time. That means how long a person is in contact with current or with electricity. If it's a very short time, a few seconds, the effect may be not much, but if more than that, the effect will be dangerous. Even if the length of time is very short, but if the amount of current flowing through the body is more, it results in serious injury. So these are the some of the factors on which injury to him due to electric shock depends on. Next, we'll see what are the causes or what is the actual cause for electric accidents. The first is maybe due to parts and equipment. So here, when we say parts and equipments, we know that most of the power tools or extension cords, most of the power tools are equipped with cords, and they must be properly inspected each time before being used. And of course, it should also be serviced in case if we discover that it has worn or broken or the insulation is exposed. So that is regarding cords and equipment. Next, cause of electric hazards may be electric panels. So here you can see in the sketch, the electric panels is where most of the circuits will be placed, and whatever the electric panels are there, they should be kept clear of any obstructions at all times. It should be easily available in case of emergency or even if it's not emergency. And also, storage should not be allowed in electric wards or service panel rooms. That means any materials that are discarded should not be stored, or any inventory should not be stored where electric panels have been placed. We should always keep the room where electric panels are placed free of any storage materials or products, anything. It should be easily and freely available. Next, trip hazards. Here, tripping hazards create that means tripping hazard usually take place when a cord is running across the floor. That means the cord is lying freely on the ground, or it is running on the ground. We are connected to some other appliance. So what happens here when the cord has been running? Some may not notice and may trip accidentally, or they may just when tripping, the plug may get unplugged from the socket. So whenever there is a chances that the wires will be running on the floor temporarily, so we should make sure that the cord is covered appropriately, as shown in the sketch here is by yellow color. It has been even though it is running on the ground, it has been covered properly, so the chances of tripping is very less. So this has to be avoided. Next, exposed wiring. Uh, we must notice this type of in lot of places where maybe for example you can take a street lamp. Yeah, the wires may be exposed or may be open. Okay, so so of course that should not, it should be avoided. So they should be make sure that area is protected by certain coverage, or if not, someone may just accidentally touch it and it may cause electric shocks. So this is also one of the causes of electric shocks, exposed wiring. Next, power strips. So power strips is like plugging many sockets into a strip, into a power source. It's like a multiple outlet strips. Examples, you can call it as a junction box or pull box, where multiple plugs will be plugged. So this is also a reason for electric hazards. So whenever unused opening in cabinets or boxes and fittings must be closed, or if they are being used, they should be properly covered. So this is also one of the